When he died, there was no one to bury him. The soil swallowed him. This is the story of the kind Mr. Musa. Musa was born into a poor family in a village in Kano State. His father, Mr. Ibrahim, was a farmer who believed in hard work more than comfort. His mother, Mrs. Ibrahim, was a trader who carried goods from place to feed her children. Together, they raised 4 children with little money but strong discipline. The first child was Baba, the first son. He was calm, responsible, and learned early how to carry burdens without complaint. The second child was Zina, the only daughter. She was quiet and observant, always helping her mother whenever she could. Musa was the third child. He was different. He asked questions, listened closely, and noticed things others ignored. The last child was Bubu, playful and energetic, always following his older brothers. Life was hard for the Ibrahim family. Food was never enough. There were days they shared one meal and learned how to wait without complaining. Mr. Ibrahim believed hunger should not break a child but teach strength. From a young age, he taught his children to work before eating. Work, to him, was dignity. It was survival. Mrs. Ibrahim supported this belief. She woke early, sold her goods, returned tired, and still found time to guide her children. She taught them respect, patience, and kindness. She reminded them that poverty was not shameful, but laziness was. Despite their struggles, the family stayed united. They laughed together when they could. They shared stories at night. They held each other when things became too heavy. In that small home, love was the only thing that never ran out. In their community, education was not for everyone. Only boys were allowed to go to school. Girls stayed home and prepared for marriage. Zina watched her brothers leave for school every day, while she stayed back with her mother. She never complained, but her silence carried questions no one answered. Musa stood out early. He learned quickly and remembered everything he was taught. His teachers noticed his sharp mind and discipline. When a scholarship opportunity came for secondary school, Musa was chosen. It was a rare chance, and it changed everything. The family celebrated quietly. Mr. Ibrahim was proud but careful. He reminded Musa that education was a responsibility, not an escape. Mrs. Ibrahim held Musa close and warned him never to forget where he came from. Musa promised. He studied hard. He respected his teachers. He helped his classmates. Even as a young boy, people called him kind. He shared what little he had and defended those who were weaker. But life does not wait for promises. Just when Musa's future began to shine, life tested him in ways no child should face. And that test would shape the man he would become, for better or worse. This was only the beginning. Mrs. Ibrahim fell sick quietly. At first, it looked like something small, something rest would cure. Days turned into weeks, and weeks became months. Before anyone understood what was happening, the sickness stayed. It stayed for 2 long years. The burden fell mostly on Musa. Musa was still young, but he stepped into responsibility without being asked. He woke early to help his mother. He stayed close when she needed water, food, or strength. Many days, he returned from school to find her weaker than before. He learned quickly that love sometimes means sacrifice. School became harder. Musa began missing classes, school meetings, and activities. His teachers noticed, but Musa never complained. He carried both his books and his fear in silence. One day, Musa was selected to represent his community in a major academic competition. It was an honor many boys dreamed of. It was a chance to prove himself and bring pride to his family. But that same week, Mrs. Ibrahim's sickness worsened. Musa made a choice. He stayed home. While others traveled, Musa sat beside his mother. He fed her, cleaned her, and held her hand. He chose family over opportunity. That decision shaped his heart, even though it cost him deeply. As Mrs. Ibrahim's health declined, life continued around them, cold and unmoved. Zina, the only daughter, was married at the age of 15. She was given out as the 5th wife to a man much older than her. There was no discussion, no choice. Tradition spoke louder than feelings. Zina left her mother while she was still sick, carrying fear instead of joy into marriage. Baba remained strong. He worked the farm alongside his father, carrying the weight of responsibility. He became quieter, more serious. Bubu followed them every day, learning work before childhood. 6 months later, the sickness won. Mrs. Ibrahim died. According to tradition, she was buried the same day. There was no time to understand the loss. No time to sit with the pain. One moment she was there, the next she was gone. For Musa, the world stopped. He had been her helper, her comfort, her strength. Losing her felt like losing direction. The home that once held warmth became silent. That burial did more than take a mother. It broke the balance of the family. It weakened Mr. Ibrahim. It forced Baba into early leadership. It pushed Zina further away. And it planted a quiet pain in Musa's heart. That pain would grow with time. And peace never fully returned after that day. The family continued to live, but nothing felt complete again. After losing his wife, Mr. Ibrahim began to fade. He no longer spoke with strength. His body grew weaker, and his thoughts became scattered. Some days he remembered everything. Other days, he forgot names, places, and even time. The man who once led his family with firm belief now needed care himself. The burden of the home fell on Baba. Baba did not complain. He became the pillar of the family, carrying responsibilities that were never meant for someone his age. He woke early to work, managed the house, and watched over his father. He also protected Bubu, making sure his younger brother stayed safe and fed. Baba learned quickly that being the first son meant sacrificing his own dreams for others. Zina was no longer part of the daily struggle. She lived in her husband's house, raising children of her own. Though she remembered her family, distance grew between them. Life pulled her in a different direction, and her voice became less present in the family's decisions. Musa, still carrying the pain of his mother's death, returned fully to school. Education became his escape. It gave him purpose when home felt heavy. He worked harder than before, pushing himself to succeed. He moved on to higher secondary school and quickly stood out. Teachers praised him. Community members spoke his name with pride. Musa became known as the boy with promise, the one destined to rise beyond the village. His success brought hope, but it also created distance. As years passed, Musa's world grew larger, while his connection to home grew smaller. He visited less. He called less. He focused more on moving forward than looking back. He did not realize it at the time, but success slowly pulled him away from his roots. Back home, Mr. Ibrahim's health worsened. He became fragile, both in body and mind. Baba continued to care for him, often alone. Bubu grew older, learning life through work and loss rather than guidance. Then one day, Mr. Ibrahim died. There was no ceremony filled with honor. No son of success stood beside him. No grand farewell. Baba buried his father alone. That moment marked a quiet turning point. The last link to the family's foundation was gone. Musa, now far ahead in life, was no longer present when it mattered most. The family survived, but something precious was lost. They were now a family without a mother, and without a father. And the distance between Musa and his roots became deeper than he ever realized. With both parents gone, Baba officially became the head of the family. There was no announcement. Responsibility simply fell on him. He took charge of the house, managed what little was left, and ensured that Bubu stayed on the right path. Baba did not have the freedom to grieve for long. Life demanded strength more than tears. Baba also kept contact with Zina, checking on her and her children whenever he could. Though she was in her husband's house, Baba made sure she never felt abandoned. He understood that family did not end because distance grew. As years passed, Baba married and started his own family. Even with a wife and children of his own, he never forgot his role as a brother and guardian. His life became a careful balance of sacrifice and responsibility. Like many first sons, Baba learned to carry everyone while putting himself last. Musa focused completely on education. Books, exams, and opportunities filled his days. He rarely came home. When he did, it was brief. He stayed only long enough to greet people before returning to his studies. Yet, whenever Musa visited, the whole community celebrated him. People gathered to see him. They spoke his name with pride. They called him hope. To them, Musa was proof that someone from their village could rise above struggle. His presence brought joy, but it also created distance. Musa became more of a symbol than a son. Musa did not notice what his absence was costing. While he chased academic success, Baba carried the emotional weight of the family. Baba attended events alone. Baba buried their father alone. Baba raised Boo without help. He never complained, but the silence spoke loudly. Musa believed education was everything. To him, sacrifice meant leaving people behind to reach a better future. He told himself that success would eventually fix everything. He believed there would be time later. But life does not pause for later. Boo grew older under Baba's care, learning responsibility early, just like they once did under their father. The family adjusted to Musa's absence, even as they missed him. What Musa did not understand was that presence matters more than promise. Being celebrated in public did not replace being there in private moments. Education gave Musa direction, but it also created emotional distance he never noticed. At the university, Musa finally found his path. With the help of his close friend Abdul, he gained admission into the University of Lagos. It was a big step for someone from a small village in Kano State. For Musa, this was not just education, it was proof that his sacrifices were working. University life opened many doors for him. Musa was disciplined, focused, and respected. He understood numbers easily and explained them clearly to others. Students gathered around him for help. Parents in the community began to talk about him, wishing their children could follow in his footsteps. Before long, Musa became popular, not because he chased attention, but because excellence followed him. His classmates trusted him, and his lecturers noticed his leadership. When the Accounting Association needed a president, Musa was chosen. The boy who once shared one meal with his family was now leading others. Opportunities came quickly. Before Musa even graduated, he was offered a job at First Bank of Nigeria. It was a dream position. A steady income. Respect. Security. Musa felt his future had finally arrived. But success demanded time. Musa became busy. His days were filled with lectures, meetings, and work. He stopped calling home regularly. He told himself he would check on them later. He believed Baba was strong enough to handle things. After all, Baba had always managed. Then tragedy struck. Back home, Boo was working on the farm when a snake bit him. There was no time. There was no help. Boo died. The news reached Musa while he was working. People expected him to come home. Musa did not. He said he was working. He said he would come later. But later never came. Baba buried Boo alone. This time, the pain was different. It was not just loss. It was abandonment. The absence Musa had normalized now felt permanent. Baba did not call to argue. Zina did not beg. They simply accepted the silence. That silence broke something forever. Musa continued his life in the city, unaware of what had shifted. He believed money and success would eventually heal all wounds. He did not understand that family does not measure love in achievements, but in presence. Musa was rising. But at home, something was dying quietly. Musa graduated with a first class, just as everyone expected. His hard work paid off, and his career at the bank moved fast. Promotions followed one after another. Within a few years, Musa became a general manager. His name carried weight. His decisions mattered. Money flowed easily. But money has a way of changing people. Musa no longer spoke like the boy from Kano State. He spoke with confidence that bordered on arrogance. When Baba called, Musa answered impatiently. He spoke to his elder brother without respect, forgetting that Baba had carried the family alone when he was absent. Calls became arguments. Arguments became silence. Zina tried to reach out too. She called to check on him, to remind him of family. Musa ignored her calls or responded briefly. To him, family conversations felt like distractions. He had meetings to attend and places to be. Without realizing it, Musa had forgotten where he came from. He forgot the hunger. He forgot the sacrifices. He forgot the people who stood firm while he rose. Musa married Mariam, a woman from the banking sector. She was intelligent, supportive, and full of dreams. Later, she left banking to become an event planner, choosing passion over security. Musa supported her decision financially, but emotionally, he was rarely present. They had 2 children, a boy and a girl. Musa ensured their needs were met. School fees were paid. Clothes were provided. But love was missing. He came home late. He attended parties and business events alone. The house became a place to sleep, not to belong. Mariam noticed the change. One day, she told Musa she was pregnant. Instead of joy, he responded with disbelief. He said he did not have time. He treated the news like an inconvenience. Weeks later, Mariam began bleeding. She called Musa repeatedly. He did not answer. Mariam went through the pain alone. By the time she reached the hospital, the baby was gone. She lost the child without her husband by her side. Musa never came. That moment broke something in the marriage. It was no longer about money or work. It was about absence during pain. Mariam stayed, but her heart withdrew. The house became quiet, not because of peace, but because of disappointment. Success can turn gratitude into pride. Distance can turn love into duty. Musa had everything he once dreamed of, yet he was losing the most important things quietly. He forgot his roots. And forgetting roots always comes with consequences. As Musa rose higher at the bank, his appetite for money grew stronger. What once satisfied him no longer did. He wanted more influence, more power, and faster wealth. That hunger pushed him toward people he once would have avoided. He began spending time with businessmen who spoke boldly, promised quick returns, and ignored rules. At first, Musa told himself it was harmless. He believed his intelligence would protect him. But one compromise led to another. Soon, Musa was involved in transactions that crossed ethical lines. Deals were hidden. Documents were adjusted. His name began to appear in places it should not. The bank noticed. Musa was questioned. His records were reviewed. For the first time in years, fear entered his life. He almost lost his job, the same job he had chosen over family, funerals, and responsibility. Though he survived the investigation, the warning was clear. But pride does not listen to warnings. At home, Mariam had emotionally stepped away. After losing her baby alone, something inside her shut down. She stopped waiting for Musa to change. She stopped asking questions. She poured her energy into her children and her event planning business. Her focus became survival, not marriage. The house felt empty even when Musa was present. Then one evening, everything collapsed. Mariam received a phone call from a woman she did not know. The woman spoke calmly and confidently. She claimed she was pregnant, for Musa. She did not apologize. She did not explain. She simply delivered the news and ended the call. When Mariam confronted Musa, she expected denial, regret, or at least shame. She got none. Musa did not argue. He did not beg. He told Mariam that she should accept it. He reminded her that a man was allowed to take another wife. He spoke as if love was a rulebook and not a commitment. In that moment, Mariam saw clearly. This was not a mistake. This was not pressure. This was who Musa had become. She refused. For the first time in years, Mariam chose herself. She asked for a divorce, not in anger, but in exhaustion. She was tired of absence, disrespect, and emotional neglect. Musa agreed without hesitation. That was the final proof. Mariam left with her children. She did not leave with bitterness. She left with determination. She found a comfortable home she could afford. She expanded her business. She raised her children with presents, not promises. Musa watched her leave, believing he had lost nothing. But pride often celebrates too early. Reminds us that destruction does not always come suddenly. Sometimes, it walks in quietly, through pride, excuses, and unchecked desire, until everything that once mattered is gone. Musa standing alone, convinced that he had lost nothing. His pride had pushed away his wife and children, yet he felt untouched. It shows how quickly that confidence turned into silence. After Mariam left, Musa moved his new wife into the house without delay. He welcomed her openly and promised her comfort, protection, and a life without struggle. To Musa, this new beginning felt like proof that life was still in his control. He believed nothing could touch him anymore. For a short while, things appeared stable. Musa continued his work and business connections. He traveled often and spoke boldly about future plans. He told his new wife he would be away for just 1 week. He assured her everything she needed was already provided. It was a simple goodbye, one he believed meant nothing. But that was the last normal moment of his life. At the airport, Musa was stopped. What began as a routine check turned into questioning. Then questioning turned into discovery. Drugs were found in his possession. As investigations continued, more illegal activities surfaced: transactions, connections, and deals from his past choices. The life Musa built on shortcuts collapsed in hours. There was no powerful call to save him. No friend with influence stepped forward. No family rushed to his side. The man who once ignored funerals now faced judgment alone. Musa was sentenced to life imprisonment. News spread quickly, then faded just as fast. The same people who once praised him stopped mentioning his name. His properties were seized. His accounts were frozen. Everything he worked for vanished overnight. Back home, his new wife was thrown out. The promises Musa made could not protect her. She left with nothing, just like Mariam once did, but without the strength Mariam had built. Musa's house stood empty. There was no burial. No farewell. No final gathering. The community moved on. Back in his cell, Musa had time, more time than he ever gave anyone. Time to remember Baba carrying the family alone. Time to remember Zina leaving home too early. Time to remember Boo-Boo's burial he never attended. Time to remember his mother's warning never to forget where he came from. Regret became his only companion. He realized too late that success without family is hollow. That money without character is dangerous. That pride does not protect, it isolates. Musa did not die physically that day. But his name did. And in the place where he was born, where he once gave hope, the soil swallowed his story like he never existed. Some people chase success and lose their soul. Some forget family and remember too late. And when they fall, even the soil refuses to remember their name. If this story touched you, like the video, subscribe to my channel, share it with someone, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you never miss a story that speaks. And thanks for watching.